Anambra State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has attributed the cause of mass killing or massacre of a particular ethnic group of Ebonyi indigenes at Ogboji community in Orumba South local government area of the state on Monday at the late hour of the every Monday sit-at-home most people in the southeast states used as meeting days to an internal crisis rocking members of the Association of the Ebonyi Development Town Union in Anambra State, with the Commissioner of Police, Ikioye Orutugu stating in a statement issued after he personally visited the scene of crime on Wednesday that the group attacked were members of the factional union of Ebonyi people living in Ogboji, with the survivors' testimonies suggesting that the massacre was initially an assassination plot targeted at the factional leader of the group, but, after the suspected assassins identified and shot dead the leader of the Ebonyi Union factional group, the gang leader of the suspected assassins ordered his men to shoot at everyone already lying face down, probably because almost all of them refused to point or show the suspected assassins the leader of the factional Ebonyi group, while some of the survivors said they thought the suspected assassins who came with 2 white Sienna minivans were security operatives who came only to scatter the meeting. According to the State Police Command spokesperson, SP Tochukwu Akenga, in an interview on Thursday, NDI Anambra did not murder Ebonyi indigenes in the state. The culprits are criminals hiding under the umbrella of the good people of Ebonyi Town Union in Ogboji, Orumba South local government area that committed the cowardly act. We already have 1 suspect in custody and shall definitely hunt others down. One of the survivors, who spoke in his native language at the hospital bed, narrated how he was shot twice to force him to reveal the identity of the leader of the group, which, according to the survivor, the suspected assassins mentioned the full name of their target and shot him first time and threatened to kill him if he refused to show them the person, and after killing their target, Ogboji Odogu, the suspected assassins shot him again the second time. Details of the survivors' statements as transcribed and translated by Punch newspaper are presented below. A survivor of the massacre of Ebonyi indigenes in Ogboji, Anambra State, has shared a harrowing account of how gunmen turned a peaceful community meeting into a bloodbath, killing at least 11 people and injuring many others. Onuoha Godwin, a member of the Ebonyi State Welfare Association in Ogboji, narrowly escaped with his life after sustaining gunshot wounds to his hand and stomach. Speaking from his hospital bed, Godwin described the terrifying moment armed men invaded their monthly meeting and opened fire indiscriminately. A video of his testimony, delivered in his native dialect, has since gone viral on social media. Godwin, who hails from Inimagu, Ikwo local government area of Ebonyi State, recounted that the attackers struck as the group was about to conclude its general meeting. "We used to have our meeting 2 times a month. That day was our general meeting of Ebonyi State Welfare Association in Ogboji," he said, his voice faint but steady. Towards evening, when we were about closing the meeting, some people carrying guns came in. We thought they were policemen who came for mass arrests. We didn't know they were on a mission to kill us, he said. Godwin said the gunmen immediately asked for Ogboji Odogu, chairman of the Ogboji branch of the association, before ordering everyone to lie down. The first thing they asked was, "Who is Ogboji Odogu?" Then they ordered everybody to lie down, Godwin recalled. They dragged me up and asked me what meeting we were doing. I told them it was the general meeting of Ebonyi indigenes. They said we were kicking against them, and then they shot me, he said. He added that after repeated threats and gunshots into the air, they forced him to identify Ogboji, whom they then executed on the spot before shooting him again. They came to me again and asked me to show them Ogboji or they would kill me. I pointed at him, they brought him out and shot him right there. Then they shot me again, he said. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Police Force, in a press statement issued and made available on Wednesday by the Anambra State Police Command spokesperson, Tochukwu Akenga, stated that the incident is not a targeted attack on any indigene of any state but a cowardly action of the common enemies of the state. The Commissioner of Police CP Ikioye Orutugu, FWC, MNIPS, PhD, today the 2nd of July 2025, led a joint security team comprising the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and other sister agencies to the scene where 10 people were murdered in Ogboji, Orumba South local government area. He also confirmed the arrest of a male suspect, Sunday Mbanu, who is currently assisting the police in their investigation. The CP, however, reiterates that the incident is not a targeted attack on any indigene of any state, but a cowardly action of the common enemies of the state. During the interaction with some stakeholders of the community, including the traditional Prime Minister, President General of the Ogboji community and the son of the landlord where the meeting was held, the crime scene, some revelations were made as follows. There is a leadership squabble in the Association of Ebonyi State Indigenes in the area. The meeting that recorded the incident is the factional leadership of Ebonyi Indigenes living in Ogboji, Orumba South local government area of Anambra State. It was alleged that the association had earlier complained and written a petition to the President General of Ogboji without recourse to the security agencies. Meanwhile, as the PG was trying to use an alternative dispute resolution (ADR) strategy to resolve the issue, it escalated to a record of the unfortunate incident. The son of the landlord confirmed that one of the victims is a tenant in their compound and gave some details that the joint investigative team are working on. Given the above, the joint security team, while condoling with the people of Ebonyi State, especially the family and friends of the deceased, wished the injured a quick recovery. The visit also witnessed a courtesy call on the traditional ruler of Equilobia. The Anambra State Police Command remains committed to making sure that the perpetrators of this heinous crime are brought to book. We had reported that Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor, the former lawyer to the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, Nnamdi Kanu, has called on Anambra State government under the leadership of Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo and security agencies in the state to conduct a thorough investigation into the killing of 13 Ebonyi indigenes by yet-to-be-identified gunmen while the victims were having an end-of-month meeting at a location in Ogboji community, Orumba South local government area of Anambra State on Monday evening.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
After watching his elder brother, Innocent Idibia aka Two-Face, Two-Barber took to Instagram social media early morning midnight on Wednesday to post a video of him, Two-Face, apologizing to Natasha Asawaru and the general public over the opinion he had expressed in a podcast interview. The African Queen music maestro's younger brother, Charles Idibia aka Charlie Brave, also took to Instagram nearly around noon on Wednesday to narrate how his elder brother, Two-Face, is currently and allegedly living in bondage in the hand of Natasha Asawaru, specifically stating that it was Natasha Asawaru who used Two-Face's social media handle to announce to the public Two-Face's marriage breakup with Annie Macaulay, adding, Natasha Asawaru do go through Two-Face's phone, deleting WhatsApp messages she does not like, narrating also how Natasha Asawaru allegedly impersonated Two-Face by thus writing on Two-Face's social media page, where the allegedly impersonated Two-Face was seen to have asked the general public to help him beg Natasha Asawaru to marry him. This, Charles Idibia said, his elder brother, Two-Barber, has moved from a frying pan that almost killed him to an industrial furnace that will completely destroy him and his career legacy. In the lengthy statement, Charles Idibia said, to my dear at official Two-Barber, there are not enough words in English to express how much I love you, so I won't even try. To the gentle, kind, loving, peaceful being, to the guy who would not intentionally hurt a fly, who would take losses in several businesses just to avoid any form of confrontations, who makes sure everyone around is comfortable even though he is not alright, who gets mute, and watches himself being painted as the bad guy just to protect the same person painting him as the bad guy. To the guy who I would dare to describe as the modern-day Jesus Christ from Nigeria, because of how innocent and pure your heart is, but you will also be crucified by religious standards, to the most insanely talented musician that has ever graced my ears. I beg you today, to wake up. It can never be a crime to save yourself, to move on from where you were almost losing your life and soul, but you haven't moved on, you have been captured from inside the frying pan to an industrial furnace, so my heart bleeds. It's one thing for a girlfriend to snoop in your phone and read messages out of curiosity or for other relationship reasons. It can even come off as cute, but a girlfriend who breaks into your phone to announce your divorce, because she had doubts about you going through with it. Who posts and deletes a picture of herself on your socials and asks Nigerians to help you beg her to marry her while you sleep. Who clones your WhatsApp, deletes messages she doesn't like and replies messages pretending to be you to steamroll her agendas. A control freak inside your emails and your accounts, who convinces you to abandon your management and businesses in Lagos and move to Abuja, just to become her arm candy and dragged all over Benin and to places the real you will definitely not go. Who would make you defend lies and tolerate chaos, who would sabotage your business trips, who would do a whole lot of rubbish I will not mention here out of shame, and hide under your name, who would adopt your surname, tell strangers, and whoever cares to listen, that she is your wife while you are still legally married. A girlfriend who makes you eat your words from a podcast just because you didn't mention her name she would have liked, is not a girlfriend but a psychotic fan, a cancerous leech who has come to slowly but steadily destroy you and your legacy, all in the name of love. You are in one of the episodes of those. Crime and investigation, love, passion and murder. You love to watch, and the victim at the end of the story is going to be you. How haven't you realized this? You are currently living in bondage. Today being the 2nd of July 2025, I beg you bro, take a couple of months off alone. Get completely off social media and let the music and businesses wait. Give yourself time to heal and reflect, and really focus on what's important at this stage of your life. I beg you to do this, in the name of whatever you still hold dear, in the names of your 7 lovely kids. They would love to grow up with a healthy and happy father in future. You are a great chess player. You know when it's time to step away from the chessboard and evaluate the game from an outside perspective. This is that time, before it gets too late. A time to become the real you again. This isn't you, Charlie Idibia stated. We had reported that the Africa Queen Maestro, Innocent Idibia aka Two-Face, Two-Barber may be one of the people on earth that practices what he preaches, with his current sermons while speaking on the latest episode of the 234 Mzansi podcast hosted by Annie Emmanuel known as Nedu Wazobia and others, giving vivid picture of what he has been and who he really is. Clearly and distinctly telling the general public that a man can truly be in love with one woman he actually loves so passionately, but a man is not born or built to make love with just one woman. This statement obviously and apparently defines who Two-Face really is, as it may be interesting to know that Two-Face has eldest son and daughter who are less than 4 months older than each other from 2 different women. Sambo Ajaba and Pero Adeniyi, the seemly women affair maestro, was making love with both women while he seems to be passionately in love with Annie Macaulay, who his fans and the general public know more about until January 15, 2006. Sambo Ajaba gave birth to Two-Face's first son, Nino, and less than 4 months after, Pero Adeniyi in April 27, 2006 gave birth to the Adoma-born king of Afropop first daughter, Ikioye, and for years, Two-Face Idibia only married one woman he probably truly loved, Annie Macaulay, until January 2025. Two-Face Idibia announced an end to his 12 years marriage with Annie Macaulay and apparently switched his heart to another woman, an Edo-born lawmaker, Natasha Osawaru Igbenedion, who although appears to be the current only one woman Two-Face Idibia truly loved, but the Africa Queen music maestro may not deny making love with other women, like he said in 2006. The Africa Queen heart-melting love song released in 2004 that elevated and took Nigeria and Africa music to global stage, or to be more widely accepted internationally, can be sang to any woman.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
In April 2025, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu traveled to the United States, US and held meetings with President Donald Trump, only returned from the official trip and intensified more aggressive military campaigns in Gaza and staged a military confrontation with Iran, which led to the killing of almost 1,000 Iranians in a 12-day war with the Islamic country, On Tuesday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told his cabinet members that he will travel to the US next week to hold very important security meetings with President Donald Trump and the US lawmakers amongst others, while specifically telling the cabinet members that the details of the scheduled meetings are things he cannot reveal at the briefing. According to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, "I am due to leave next week for meetings in the US with US President Donald Trump, Vice President Vance, Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the President's envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, the Commerce Secretary. We have several items to close beforehand in order to reach the trade agreement, and several additional matters, meetings with congressional and Senate leaders and security meetings which I will not detail here. These come in the wake of the great victory that we achieved in Operation Rising Lion. Taking advantage of the success is no less an important part of achieving the success. On two issues, I would like to thank you, ministers of the government. You are doing the work, you have done, and are doing, critical work to realize these achievements. Of course, I would like to expedite the rebuilding, which includes almost all, if not all, of the ministries here. I think that there is great value in this, that there should be a unification of forces here. This finds expression among the people, but also in the government and the Knesset. I must also say something about the opposition, which during the great challenge, lined up, almost all of them. This is important and I hope that it will be preserved as a compass for the future. In any case, each and every one of you has my gratitude for the exceptional cooperation and for the excellent work. Thank you very much. While the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu meeting at the Ikioye in Tel Aviv, with the IDF General Staff Forum, together with Defense Minister Israel Katz and IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, the Prime Minister commended the Major Generals of the IDF for their part in Operation Rising Lion in Iran and thanked them for their contribution to ensuring the eternity of Israel. Personally, I would like to express immense appreciation and gratitude to you Defense Minister Israel Katz, to you IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir and to you, the members of the General Staff Forum for perfectly executing the missions that we set. A people that rises up as a lion, and much more. Over the centuries of our exile, the Jewish people lost the ability to oppose those who attacked it. We became as a leaf driven in the wind, a people that experienced exile, pogroms, murders and, in the end, the worst act of murder in history. When the fathers of Zionism arose approximately 130 years ago, most of them did not think that the attacks on the Jewish people would end with the establishment of the State of Israel, but that we would formulate the diplomatic and military force to oppose these attacks. This is the line that separates between the generations of Jewish history and what has happened in our generation, the establishment of the state and the IDF. In Iran, a threat was created for us that was no less strong and perhaps even greater than the pan-Arab threat at its peak, and it still threatens us. 40 years ago, and certainly 35 years ago, I thought that the greatest danger to humanity was the link between nuclear weapons and an Islamist regime, or the link between an Islamist regime and nuclear weapons. But Iran did not suffice with this because, in effect, they built three axes of annihilation. First, the noose, a plan for the annihilation of Israel by means of an axis. The second, a plan for the annihilation of Israel by means of a missile threat. And the third, a plan for the annihilation of Israel by means of a nuclear threat. This is the raison d'etre of the regime. This is not the only reason why they want to annihilate us and we are not their main objective. But in order to realize the main objectives, they must get rid of us. It is impossible to conquer the Middle East without annihilating Israel. And if there is no Israel, the Middle East collapses immediately. The state of Israel was like a person who has two cancerous tumors. One was the nuclear threat and the second was the missile threat. If you do not excise them, you die. It could be that you excise them and they return, like you treat cancer. But if you do not excise them, we die. Therefore, there was no question here. We had to make this decision. And the way in which it was made, unanimously by the political echelon, and unanimously by the IDF command, under your outstanding leadership, which improved exceptionally on a daily and weekly basis. The question arose regarding the US, and I told you that we would do everything to get them on board, but this was not a condition. It was not a condition, but none of this would have been possible without the intensive and superb operation that will be etched in the history of our people, and, in my view, in the history of the world, certainly in the military history, which I believe everyone will come to study. This has major implications for our economy. We are already feeling it, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu stated. We have reported that the United States, US President, Donald Trump has accused members of the Israel House of Assembly, known in Hebrew word as Knesset, of apparent politically witch-hunting the Israel Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, with corruption case President Trump had described as nothing but political witch hunt, saying, the Knesset prosecutors should let Benjamin Netanyahu go, that, he's a war hero who have worked with the US to eliminate Iran nuclear threats, and currently he has a big job to do with negotiations of peace deals with Iran and Hamas, stressing in a question manner how possible is it for the Israel Prime Minister to sit in court all day long. The Prime Minister lawyer had filed a 2-week delay of the case, citing national security demands following the 12-day Israel-Iran war, but the court sitting in Jerusalem rejected the application on Friday, and Benjamin Netanyahu, who has spent 20 years as Israel Prime Minister, was expected to be in court on Monday for cross-examination in the corruption case that started with police investigation in 2016 and the court trial commenced in 2020, but a report from some foreign media quoting the Prime Minister political party, Likud, a few hours ago indicated that the court on Sunday has postponed the case and cancelled it from holding this week. Similarly, some members of the Knesset had accused the Prime Minister of trying to use the regional war with Hamas, Hezbollah and Iran to secure end to the corruption charges. We had reported that thousands of mourners on Saturday put on mostly black and black clothes and rallied from Enghalab Square to Azadi Square in Tehran, the Iranian state capital, to honor the country's top military commanders, nuclear scientists, 4 little children and 4 women among the hundreds of people killed during the 12 days war the Islamic country had with Israel and the United States, US, with the mourners chanting anti-US and Israel songs, while the Iran Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, was not seen at the funeral, with reports indicating that he has remained out of public space and still taking cover in a well-secured hideout since on Tuesday the ceasefire between the two countries had been brokered, and the cynosure of many eyes at the state funeral ceremony was the arrival and appearance of 2 top senior Iranian military officers previously declared killed by Israel, Ali Shamkhani, senior advisor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, and Esmail Khani, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC Quds Force, which Israel Defense Forces, IDF, had claimed to have assassinated with an airstrike on the 13th of June 2025 during the start of the Iran-Israel war. However, Iranian state media contradicted the IDF report on the 20th of June that the officials are still alive, and they were in stable condition after recovering from severe injuries from the strike. We had reported that the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has listed what the troops of Operation Rising Lions achieved in a 12-day war with the Islamic Republic of Iran, stating that Israel will now pursue the path of making peace with nations in the Middle East and compensate those that suffered damages, specifically stating that all the buildings destroyed by Iran ballistic missiles will be rebuilt anew by the Israeli government for the victims, adding that, without the immense achievements in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, and against the said terrorism in Judea and Samaria, Israel would not have been able to reach Tehran, made the statement on Tuesday evening after Iran President Masoud Pezeshkian announced an end to the 12 days tense and frightening military campaigns that the United States, led by President Donald Trump, took side with Israel and officially and openly got itself involved in the war on Saturday 2025, when U.S. special military troops flew several B-2 bombers, fighter jets, and attacked 3 Iranian cities of Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan with allegations that the Iranian nuclear facilities in the cities have been destroyed, allegations several media reports and authorities in Tehran have dismissed, but in retaliation to the US invasion of the Iranian territory, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, launched 6 missiles into Qatar on Monday with the intention to destroy US military base in the Qatari capital of Doha known as US Al Udeid Air Base, but, according to Qatar state media, Doha News, all the missiles were intercepted. We had reported that the head of the Christian Catholic Church, Pope Leo XIV, has appealed to all actors involved in the ongoing war in the Middle East and beyond to end the battles because, according to the Pope, war only amplifies or creates more problems, and no amount of military victory can compensate the pains of mothers, the stolen futures and the fear of children, emphasizing that war does not solve problem. We had reported that the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has commended President Trump of the United States, US overnight attack the US military for the first time for years carried out on Iranian cities of Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan, saying, like him and President Trump do say that peace comes through strength, the US troops acted with a lot of strength while bombing the nuclear facilities in the 3 cities of Iran. We had reported that the United States, US President Donald Trump has confirmed that the US military troops have attacked nuclear facilities in the Iranian cities of Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan on Saturday night, June 21, 2025, according to US local time of Pacific Standard Time, PST, which was already early morning night on Sunday, June 22, 2025 for countries on Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, saying, the US military attacks on Iran was completely successful as White House published photographs of President Trump and his cabinet members said to be watching the US operations in Iran nuclear sites, although no authority in Iran has issued any statement over the attacks and some of the media in Iran are yet to give update on the conditions of things in the 3 cities, but an apparent military insider media of Iran Armed Forces, Daily Iran military tweeted that residents in the vicinity of Fordo reported no indication of a major explosion, while also adding that the deputy political editor of Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, IRIB, was on live TV program in the station saying Iran has already evacuated 3 nuclear sites some time ago. This, Israel Defense Forces, IDF, earlier on Saturday night posted an aerial view recorded video of the Israeli troops bombing a location said to be Isfahan nuclear site facility, said the Iranian uranium enrichments reconversion were taking place. We had reported that 22 persons suspected to be spies have been arrested in the Iranian province of with an apparent military insider media that operate with a verified social media handle, Iran Armed Forces, stating that the 22 individuals were linked to Israeli intelligence services, and police authority in according to AFP, confirmed the arrest of the 22 persons the police said are Israeli spies. This, Israel Defense Forces, IDF, in a statement issued on Saturday morning said that Israeli troops in a precise attack killed the commander of the Palestine Corps of the Quds Force, Saeed Azadi, in We had reported that the India Ministry of External Affairs, in a statement issued on Tuesday, says the government of India has moved India students in Tehran out of the Iranian capital city due to safety concerns following the continuous exchange of air bombardments between Israel and Iran, while at the same time, the government of India advised other citizens in Tehran that can afford their own transport fare to leave the Iranian capital city immediately, adding that some citizens of India have been evacuated out of Iran completely through the border with Armenia. The India Embassy in Israel had on Sunday advised persons of India origin not to move unnecessarily in Tel Aviv, and they should obey safety instructions from the Israeli authorities and Home Front Command. We had reported that the ongoing military campaigns between Israel and Iran on Monday did not spare journalists, as the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, IRIB building in Tehran was hit by Israeli missile, with the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, saying that the media was one of the Israeli military targets to block the military communications of Iran armed forces, which the Iran armed forces immediately retaliated with ballistic missiles fired into Israel, and IDF in a statement issued late hours on Monday confirmed that millions of Israeli residents are currently running into bomb shelters with air raid sirens sounding across several places in Israel. A video currently trending on social media showed the TV host, Sahar Amami, fleeing the studio when the station was hit by a missile during a live broadcast. Although there are reports from Iran that the state media resumed normal operations minutes after the attack, but there are unconfirmed reports that some journalists were killed in the attack as part of the building was completely on fire. This international news agency, Reuters, put the total deaths recorded so far since the war began on Friday at 248, quoting Iranian source of Iran suffering 224 deaths, and Israeli source saying Israel has recorded 24 deaths. We had reported that not less than 100 persons, mostly civilians, have been confirmed dead less than 48 hours since, on Friday early morning night, Israel and Iran began new massive waves of offensive military campaigns that have forced commercial airplanes to avoid the troubled Middle East airspace as the two countries fly missiles of mass destruction in the air corridors, with local media confirming Iran ballistic missile killed 10 persons and injured more than 20 others at a single building struck at Bat Yam city in Israel as the angry Iranian soldiers launched a massive all-night continuous air bombardments campaign against the state of Israel that earlier on Friday began the new offensive military campaign when it flew fighter jets to strike Iranian military homes, nuclear weapon facilities, killing Iran nuclear weapon scientists, military leaders including Iranian Chief of Staff and Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, alongside almost 60 civilian death casualties. This, President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S. in a statement issued on Friday shortly after Israeli attack via his personal verified social media handle on his own Truth social media platform, praised and boasted about the military strength and capability of Israel, saying, "Things will only get worse for Iran because he gave them a chance to make a deal but they ignored the chance," adding with some level of mockery that the Iranian hardliners who spoke bravely are now dead as a result of the Israel attack on Iran, saying with emphasis that the US produces the best lethal military equipments anywhere in the world, and Israel already has a lot of the US military leather equipments, adding that Israel knows how to use the weapons and more will be giving to them. And in another statement issued also through the Truth social media platform on Saturday shortly after the unprecedented military parades to mark the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States Army, President Donald Trump threatened to unleash the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces to attack Iran at a level never seen before if Iran dare attack U.S. in any way, shape or form, claiming that the U.S. had nothing to do with the Israeli attack on Iran. Reacting earlier, Iran's Supreme Leader, Imam Saeed Ali Khamenei, said Iran will retaliate Israeli attack with a strong response of no mercy, just as Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said Israeli attack on Tehran on Friday killed military commanders, nuclear scientists, women and children, while wishing President Donald Trump and U.S. armed forces happy birthday on Saturday. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu alleged that Iran made an attempt to assassinate President Donald Trump twice, adding that Israel attacked the military and nuclear facilities in Tehran on Friday because Iran was building intercontinental nuclear weapons that could be used to destroy Israel and any other country in the world.
Osazuwa Connedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwa Connedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way.